Attention to all founders, hustlers, and hardworking entrepreneurs. The Hustle's 2024 Entrepreneurship Trends Report is out now, and it's a goldmine of valuable strategies, data-driven insights, and expert tips for elevating your business. Have you ever wondered how successful business owners are staying ahead of the crowd in today's super competitive market? Well, we talked to over 500 small business owners to uncover how they're doing it and did a ton of research so you don't have to. We know you're busy building your business, so we got you covered. The Hustle's 2024 Entrepreneurship Trends Report is something you don't want to miss. This right here is the future of entrepreneurship. So stop what you're doing right now and check the link in the show notes to get that report right now. All right, good morning, everybody. It's Tuesday, October 1st. I'm John Weigell here with the returning, the great Rob Litterst, and this is the Hustle Daily Show. Cable TV isn't quite dead yet. In a huge acquisition, DirecTV has made a deal to acquire fellow 2000s television holdout Dish Network, which is on its last legs with billions of dollars in debt. The done deal would make DirecTV the biggest U.S. pay TV provider, but is that really a desirable title right now? And will this merger even get through the Justice Department to begin with? We'll get to that in a bit, but first let's give you the hits and headlines today in business and tech. To start us off, Epic Games is suing Google again, this time including Samsung too in the suit. The game developer filed an antitrust lawsuit against both companies, alleging that they illegally teamed up to keep third-party app stores off of Samsung phones. Ooh, spicy. From there, we go to Levi's. Levi's latest campaign features Beyoncé in new spins on old ads, starting with a famous 1985 commercial in which a laundromat customer waits in his underwear for his jeans to wash. I, being a 1994 baby, haven't seen that. But Rob, what do you think about this boon for Levi's?
I love it. I'm a huge Levi's guy. I don't even know what they're called. I was just trying to look them up, and I thought they were called like 529s, but dude, I looked up the stuff.
All the numbers are so confusing.
Yeah.
I'm also a Levi's jeans person, and I don't even know. Like, it's 5275, and then I get into the Boeing numbers. I don't know where I'm going.
Yeah, you know you're deep in the denim game when you have like hundreds of product SKUs. It's crazy. So, but whatever they are, I absolutely love them. And huge fan of this Beyonce ad and this campaign in general. I think if there's anything that we've learned in the last few years, it's that people love nostalgic twists with modern celebrities and like modern brands. And so I just think this is a genius play for them, just kind of like going back to their roots, but doing it in a modern way. Huge fan.
Yeah, it's really cool. We've seen a lot of brands go back to vintage logos of theirs from the 80s and the 70s and the 60s. So this is a cool extension of that. I really like it. It's good that they're doing this. Some vintage flair would be good for the brand. From there, we go to Mark Zuckerberg. Again, we've been talking about him a lot lately, but this just in, he grew his wealth by $73.4 billion in 2024 to a total now of $201 billion. And yes, rich, but it's more significant because that makes him the fourth richest person in the world. The exclusive $200 billion club has only three other members, them being Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and Bernard Arnault. So, Rob, what do you make of Zuck getting into the 200 billion club?
Pretty crazy. I mean, the wildest thing about Zuck getting so rich this year is his entire vibe as a person is very, very different than it was a few years ago, and it feels very intentional. I just saw an interview with him. I think it was with the Acquired guys, and he was wearing this really like wild kind of oversized t-shirt, and he's got this super curly hair. It's just a very different Zuck aura. So yeah, it's definitely interesting. And I feel like he's definitely the only one of the four $200 billion people that dresses that way. I think Elon's a pretty casual guy. Jeff Bezos, I think, with all of his important meetings these days, he's definitely a business formal, at the very least, business casual guy. Mm-hmm. And then Bernard Arnault, you know, I think that guy's wearing suits every single day. And I think that that's just part of the game, part of the brand.
Just what he does.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I do like Zuck's new fashion sense. It's very Gen Z, very modern. I think he's trying to be more human. That's what all the memes are telling me, at least. So that's exciting.
Yeah, it's wild.
From there, let's go to Bankrate. Bankrate analyzed 2022 American Community Survey data to figure out the most valuable college majors. And if you want to know number one on the list, here you go. It's electrical engineering with a median salary of $115,000. Pretty cool list that they developed here.
Yeah, I think being able to do things in the real physical world is going to be valued more highly.
Right.
We're definitely going to see a return to a lot of the working with your hands, engineering jobs. You read about Gen Z and all of them want to be influencers.
Yeah.
I think there is going to be a big need for folks in the trades. And I think that's been a pretty large theme over the last year or two.
Yeah, I mean, they're always in demand. That's the thing. And as the people who do them get less in supply, the demand will probably go up over time. So in 10 years' time, I don't know if like my mechanic's going to be that old guy or if it's going to be a nice young whippersnapper. You never know these days, I guess.
Exactly.
All right, and finally, AT&T is selling its 70% stake in DirecTV to private equity firm TPG for $7.6 billion, meaning that AT&T is officially leaving the TV business. Hey everybody, I've been listening to this awesome podcast lately called Nudge. It's hosted by Phil Agnew and it's brought to you by the HubSpot Podcast Network, the audio destination for business professionals. Have you ever noticed how the smallest changes can have the biggest impact? On Nudge, you learn simple evidence-backed tips to help you kick bad habits, get a raise, and grow a business. Every bite-sized 20-minute show comes packed with practical advice from admired entrepreneurs and behavioral scientists. Nudge is fast-paced but still insightful with real-world examples that you can actually apply, and it's the UK's fastest-growing business podcast. I was listening to an episode recently where Phil had on Nick Kalenda, who is a former mind reader and psychic who now works with big companies in their sales departments on selling more products. It's absolutely mind-boggling, and you got to check this out. If you want an MBA's worth of insight in one single podcast, this show is right for you. Every 20-minute podcast gives you something extra special. And you can listen to Nudge wherever you get your podcasts. So that last story above is actually amazing context for our top headline today, where DirecTV just made a deal to acquire Dish TV. That deal can only go through, though, if private equity firm TPG gets the majority stake in DirecTV from AT&T. So a lot of moving parts here, a lot of stuff going on. But Rob, can you start us off and just talk about what DirecTV is trying to do with this acquisition to begin with?
Definitely. So DirecTV said on Monday that it reached an agreement to acquire Dish Network in a deal that would make DirecTV the largest U.S. pay TV provider, all for the price of $1. And I think that's pretty crazy if you don't really know what's going on.
Yeah.
It's valued at $1 because the deal's essentially a life raft for Dish, right? So the company has roughly $2 billion in debt coming due in November and about $500 million in available cash, putting the company at risk for bankruptcy. This is all thanks to, of course, the waning traditional pay TV industry and the impact that streaming and the internet, honestly, has had on that industry.
Right.
There's some crazy stats. I mean, even if you look at DirecTV, they had, I believe, 20 million paying subscribers in 2015, and they have 11 million today. So the world of pay TV has taken a huge hit in the last decade.
Yeah, it really has. And everybody's moving towards streaming. And obviously places like Dish Network are really hurting because you have DirecTV. And DirecTV, as I imagine, the big appeal for it right now is live sports.
Totally.
You can just get any sport really anytime that you want. And I really don't see any other reason for anybody to be a DirecTV subscriber unless, they've just had it all their life and are comfortable with that. But the deal, as we kind of talked about earlier, and as they nicely set up in this New York Times article, is kind of a multi-step transaction that you'd need this private equity firm, TPG, acquiring a majority stake in DirecTV from AT&T for over $7 billion to even kind of kick off this process, which will, of course, end in us figuring out if they're actually allowed to merge at all. So do you know much about TPG and what their role is in all this?
So TPG is kind of like a private equity firm / investment firm. They invest in all sorts of things. I believe they bought 30% of DirecTV in 2021 from AT&T. And so, as you mentioned, like another step in this deal would be TPG buying the remaining 70%.
Right.
And they have like multiple different investing platforms. Currently, DirecTV is part of their TPG Capital platform, which is growth-oriented and thematic investing at scale. The idea that they are going for there is operational improvement, right? Which obviously I think part of that is reducing inefficiencies. So there could be layoffs. There could be strategic things that they're going to do to try to boost the performance of DirecTV. Mm-hmm. But what's interesting is TPG Capital currently holds or has invested in a bunch of different companies that are kind of like, quote unquote, past their prime, right? So some examples would be Burger King, Hotwire.com, McAfee, the old virus software, Neiman Marcus, which used to be a public company, but has since gone private and was taken over by PE, Vice, the media company. So they have a lot of experience kind of going into these companies that are either seeing their business dry up or aren't running as efficiently as they could and going in and kind of revamping the plans. And again, not 100% sure what that'll look like when they actually get on the inside. But if you've seen what PE acquisitions look like in the past, I think there are a few options there that could be chosen.
Yeah, it's a pretty easy trail to spot now, kind of what their game is. It's also interesting that DirecTV would buy Dish Network for $1 because not only does Dish Network get that $1, but DirecTV gets all of Dish TV's debt, which is about $2.5 billion. And that's a hunk of change. And they do get about 8 million subscribers along with that, presumably, if people make the switch over to DirecTV. But the issue with that is this money's just kind of sitting there. So I wonder really what they're going to do to be able to relieve that debt and become a profitable company.
Yeah, I mean, it's wild because it does give them 20 million combined customers. And I think like the big winners here would be obviously TPG because they're meaningfully growing the platform that they have with DirecTV. I think the other winners here could potentially be programmers, right? So like a company like Disney that's in the past had to negotiate with both Dish and DirecTV might have an easier path towards negotiating with both of them. But the really interesting thing about this is not the first time that these companies have tried to merge. To give you a sense of kind of like where this industry has been, they tried to merge in 2002, but the FTC and Justice Department denied it because they said that it was anti-competitive.
Yeah.
It was going to create kind of like a monopoly.
Right.
That's obviously back when pay TV was in its heyday. And I remember when I was in college, I had DirecTV and we were the most popular house on the block to watch football games. We had, we had Red Zone, we had everything. So yeah, times change, man. Comes at you fast.
No, for real. I mean, because 2002, very different market in media than 2024. I mean, a lot of experts, at least in this New York Times article, are saying that they don't see it as a problem that the merger is happening, but some also do. And some see the issues of combining two of these giant cable companies together. So I guess it could go either way, but I would say that they definitely have a better chance in 2024 of doing this merger than they did 22 years ago.
Totally. Yeah, I think at this point, the Justice Department probably feels sorry for both of them to some extent.
Yeah. Do you still have cable?
We do have cable.
Oh, okay.
So I keep cable for literally two things. It's for University of Texas football games and Boston Celtics games. That's really it.
Yep.
If there's an affordable way to stream both of those things, that would be game over. Any listeners, if you have ideas, please hit me up on LinkedIn.
Yeah, he would be eternally grateful.
Seriously.
All right, and that'll do it for us today, everybody. Thanks for tuning into the Hustle Daily Show. We're a proud part of the HubSpot podcast network. Our editor today is Robert Hartwig, and our executive producer is Darren Clark. We've got a ton more tech and business coverage in our newsletter. If you're not subscribed, go sign up at thehustle.co/email. Throw us a follow on Instagram and keep it zesty, friends. We'll see you tomorrow. Super quick question here. How many tabs do you have open right now? If you're like me, it's a lot. And if you're running a business, it's a lot more. And with all those tabs, you're spending more time searching through data and less time, growing your business. But HubSpot's customer platform brings all your tools into a single powerful place that your teams can use together. So close those tabs. It's business growing time. Visit HubSpot.com to get started today.